Hi, it's Mike Power with Silver Range, and this is a quick look at our sniper project. First, a quick word from our lawyers. Sniper is about 48 kilometers south of Goldfield and 10 kilometers south of Gold Point in western Nevada. It's readily accessible by four-wheel drive off the Tocop or coming in from the other way, the Hardluck Castle Road. Currently, the property consists of 14 load claims on BLM land, and there's no surface impairments. Prospectors arrived in this part of southwestern Nevada in the 1860s on the trail of the lost Breyfogle mine. And the first significant discovery in the district was made by Thomas Shaw in 1864. Between 1881 and 1905, there was production from the State Line mine, which is northwest of Sniper, from the Oriental or Old Camp mine, which is very close by to Sniper, and from the Tocop mine off to the northeast. In more recent days, Riley Gold's been exploring at Tocop, and Nelson Resources is exploring actively at Gold Point. Sniper is located in the Walker Lane, but it's distant from most of the known tertiary volcanic centers which host epithermal mineralization. Notably, AngloGold's huge Arthur project down near Beatty. Nonetheless, there's a lot of gold elsewhere in the Walker Lane, hosted in metasediments and in intrusive rocks. Let's zoom in and take a look at the property geology in the area of the Sniper project, which is outlined here in red. Most of the rocks in the area are Jurassic Sylvania Pluton granodiorite. These are shown in pink here. The center of the Sylvania Pluton is located off to the west in California, and the body thins to the east. It's generally a flat-lying structure with some undulations or wavy patterns in it. And within the troughs in these wavy undulations in the Pluton are located much older Wyman Formation roof pendant rocks. These were the overlying rocks into which the Sylvania Pluton intruded. These are Proterozoic siltstones and carbonates. The youngest rocks in the district are some tertiary basalts here that occur generally at high elevations and cap some of the hills. They're much younger than the Jurassic and Precambrian rocks beneath and don't appear to be in any way related to the mineralization we find in the area. Gold and silver mineralization occurs largely near the contact between the overlying Wyman Formation and the underlying and intruding Sylvania Pluton. Mineralization can extend to some depth within the Pluton. We know this from experience at Tule Canyon off to the west. And mineralization also occurs within the Wyman Formation. This is the favored location for mineralization at Gold Point and at Mineral Ridge further north. To get some insight as to what's going on right in the area of the Sniper project, let's have a look at a cross section from northwest to southeast through the property. And here it is. The property is largely underlain by Sylvania Pluton granodiorite, but is a roof pendant here and the remnants of one over here of Wyman Formation siltstones and carbonates. Now, mineralization at Sniper occurs in two settings. At the north showing, which is at the contact between the Wyman and the Sylvania Pluton, and also deeper within the Pluton at the recently staked south showing. At the north showing, mineralization occurs along the contact, which can be well mapped right here, between the overlying and much older Wyman Formation and the underlying Sylvania Pluton. The mineralization in the area includes intense sericite alteration in the Wyman Formation above the contact and some significant quartz veining right along the contact. Now, this diagram is a bit of a simplification insofar as there are intercalated metasediments and intrusive rocks below the mapped contact. In other words, they're interfingered with each other in here. And that's the area in which much of the significant gold mineralization is found. You can see here the outlines of a small pit where people were mining away. And there's some other historic workings here. Mineralization at the North Showing consists of quartz crystalline ribbon-banded quartz veins, and they're hosted in a Wyman Formation rafts or foundered pieces of the roof pendant. These individual roof pendants are found within the Sylvania Pluton below the contact, and that's where the best mineralization is found. We found west-northwest striking, north-northeast or south-southwest dipping, in other words, veins flipping back and forth, quartz veins that are about a foot thick and run for, where the limited exposures are, they run for a few meters and then disappear under overburden. You could see here two of them in the wall of a cat trench. There were some historic workings in the area, several shafts which have been obliterated by cat workings, unfortunately, but nonetheless, you could see exposures of the mineralization in the walls of that cat trench. Mineralization consists of galena, pyrite, tetrahedrite, and chalcopyrite, altered to limonite and malachite and to orange, probably plumbojarosite, lead sulfates and lead oxide. Here's a look at gold sampling results to date at Sniper. Overall, grabs have returned from trace to 121 grams per ton gold, and 8 out of 25 of those samples have returned values better than 5 grams per ton gold. The mineralization that we've encountered to date is in two areas. This is that north showing we showed you in the previous diagram, and this is the newly staked south showing down here. Our best chip sample results to date are 0.4 meters at 46 grams and a shallow pack sack drill hole, 1 inch, drilled 2.3 meters at 2.1 grams per ton. That's open at depth. It just drilled into the top of an outcrop. So all in all, some encouraging high-grade gold results. There's a similar story in silver. Here are rock sample results in silver to date. We've received analyses from trace to 1,375 grams per ton silver. 7 out of 25 samples, largely grabs, returned greater than 31 grams per ton silver. And the one chip sample we did of 0.4 meters returned 42 grams per ton silver. So elevated silver associated with the gold. We ran gold in soil surveys at the north showing on the property, and indicates there's perhaps a little more gold than is showing up just at the known occurrences around the trenches. And it's a similar story in silver as well. So there's room for expansion, particularly off to the north and northwest at the north showing. And the south showing, we haven't done any work on that yet. It's just remains to be seen what's down there. So what's the potential at Sniper? Well, to date, the best mineralization we found is at that contact betwixt the Wyman in the underlying Sylvania Pluton. That's probably the best area to follow up. We see the mineralization occurring primarily in the uppermost part of the Sylvania Pluton, and it might extend considerable depth within it if the south showing is any indication. Near the Pluton, the most favorable areas to look are regions where you've got rafts of Wyman formation, but these veins may extend into the Sylvania Pluton as well, as we've seen at the south showing. So we think there's potential to find a lot of gold mineralization along that Wyman Sylvania Pluton contact, and to prove up some shallow resources if we're able to find more mineralization on strike. Looking ahead, we'd like to complete geologic mapping and prospecting over the expanded claim block and see if we can locate some new additional mineralized veins. We'd like to complete soil geochem surveys over the most prospective areas of the claims, as this seems to be an effective way of outlining where the veins might be at least subcropping. We'd look at geophysics to see if there's a way of identifying and mapping these veins and determining some strike length. And finally, with our shallow gas power drills, we'd like to drill into the tops of them and see if we can identify perhaps a significant area of shallow gold mineralization along that prospective Wyman Sylvania-Pluton contact, or perhaps at some zone deeper inside the intrusion. So that's the story at Sniper. Stay tuned.